the appetizer for the Dodgers on their route to the World Series. But you can be over 500 and still be an intense disappointment. The 2011 Red Sox were, quote unquote, well above 500, but no one looks back at that season fondly.
Yeah, but dumpster fire is overstating it. I watch on the MLB streaming service. That's what I watch. So I always watch the home feed. So when they're playing at Fenway, I get to hear Jerry Remy almost speak English. And when they're on the road, I get to hear the other team. And the play-by-play team for the Orioles, which includes Jim Palmer, was astonished that the Orioles played well. Astonished. The whole time they're doing it, they're like, well, we're just still waiting for the Red Sox to come back and beat us.
Does Gary Thorne still do commentary for them?
What?
Because I remember when he used to do stuff for the NHL on ESPN. That was awesome back in the day. But anyhow, your rundown includes injuries because Doug wanted to get at me immediately. He included words such as scapular thoracic bursitis, which is what Max Scherzer has.
Can you guess what part of the body it is?
Well, that's going to be the scapula. Well,
I believe it's the
you
shoulder.
ate a scapula, and now they're trying to get it out.
Yeah, he's going to miss a start or two, but he'll be back.
Thoracic?
That's what.
Well, no. I imagine scapular thoracic. Man, I ended up getting medical coding for a reason. Why is this word now completely exited my brain? This is why I do the billing and not the actual stuff, because otherwise there's going to be a death toll on the Dugout with Doug Boyle. So
I'll look it up.
It's an actual joint. It turns out the scapulothoracic is a joint, a true synovial joint, and it's the joint that makes up a part of the shoulder.
The Knights of Synovia. That was my favorite Muse song.
It's how it connects to the rib cage. It's how the scapula connects to the rib cage.
Well,
okay.
Well, Max Scherzer is probably the best pitcher in baseball, and that's why it's worth talking about him being out for 2 weeks. So,
if you've ever seen J.D. Martinez stretch his back before every single pitch, the stretch that he does of his back is actually rotating the scapulothoracic joint.
Let's move on.
Adalberto Mondesi for the Royals with a shoulder subluxation, and Eloy Jimenez with a bruised right ulnar nerve.
Yeah, Jimenez, the big prospect, he got hurt in a collision with Charlie Tilson, and Mondesi got hurt diving for the ball. You always hate when that happens.
Yeah.
Neither of these are expected to be that serious, but you're looking at 10 to 20 days.
Wilson Contreras for the Cubs with a right foot sprain. Byron Buxton for the Twins with a 7-day concussion. And Matt Carpenter for the Cardinals with a right foot contusion.
Yeah, Byron Buxton could be back in the lineup as early as Sunday. They said the testing is all going well. With Contreras out, Caratini and Maldonado are splitting time. It makes the Chicago catcher situation kind of unpalatable. And with Carpenter out, a guy by the name of Tommy Edman is batting leadoff all the time for St. Louis, and nobody knows who he is.
Well, Zach Wheeler for the Mets is going to be out, it looks like, with season fatigue. I'm sorry, shoulder fatigue. Sorry, I know he's on the Mets and all, but shoulder fatigue. Chris Taylor for the Dodgers with a fracture in the left forearm. And Jay Bruce for the Phillies with rib injury.
Yeah, Chris Taylor's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. So that allows them to bring Pollock back into the game without anybody else losing time. Zach Wheeler said that his injury was a shoulder impingement, which is more serious, so there's a disagreement on their team as to how he's hurt.
Evan Longoria for the Giants with a strained plantar fascia left foot injury. Max Fried for the Braves with a blister. Dylan Bundy for the Orioles with knee tendonitis. And JT Riddle for the Marlins with a forearm strain.
Longoria's injury will be at least a month. That's the one that's sitting out there. He'll be gone for a while. And Dylan Bundy should actually start this week, so that's not that serious. One real quick thing is that in today's baseball game, Trevor Williams has been scratched due to the flu, I think, and Joe Musgrove's going to start.
Let's see. Leaving the games this week, Albert Pujols for the Angels with a hamstring tightness, also with a bad case of screaming at the Astros dugout. And Eugenio Suarez for the Reds was ejected.
Yeah, Pujols is not expected to go to the IL. These are both fairly minor. But if they were out of lineup, you want to know why.
In your lineup, the A's, Matt Chapman with an ankle injury, Nick Senzel for the Reds with a mild hamstring strain, and Derek Dietrich for the Reds with a knee injury.
Good. I got some good news on Chapman. He entered the game in the bottom of the ninth last night as a defensive replacement. So,
really?
Looks like he should be back this weekend for sure.
I didn't catch that. I was going to say that's good. Chapman is an unsung hero in the game. A guy that somebody I even overlook. The two injuries on Cincinnati has given time for Phil Ervin, one of those guys that no one really cares about. But Phil Ervin did go 6 for 6 on Tuesday, which is pretty impressive.
As far as your activations and returns from injury, Nathan Eovaldi for the Red Sox might be returning today, which, little too late now that the Red Sox have been relegated to the International League after their 11-2 loss to the Orioles. Because if you lose by 9 runs to the Orioles, you might as well be relegated. I know the Indians lost to the Orioles a couple times by 9 runs. And you know what? They should be in the IL as well, in more ways than one.
He's gonna pitch in their bullpen now.
Yep, I heard he was going to be their save guy. He's going to be our latter day Jonathan Papelbon.
And he's looked really good in his rehab outings.
Gio Gonzalez for the Brewers also looking to start, or at least to play today. Kevin Gausman for the Braves on Sunday, and Baruki for the Blue Jays either on Sunday or Monday.
Yeah, it depends when they want it. They generally don't activate a pitcher until the day they're going to start. Eovaldi's a different story because he's a reliever.
Also activated this week, Hunter Pence for the Rangers, C.J. Cron for the Angels, and for some reason the first name got cut off on Rosario for the Twins. Eddie Rosario.
Easy Eddie Rosario. These guys are all fantasy all-stars. Guys that are probably in your lineup, and if you missed it, you're regretting it.
Also activating this week, Luke Voigt, which already feels like his 3rd or 4th activation this year. Yeah. I'm pretty sure out of the 18 guys injured on the Yankees, he was 3 or 4 of them. Also, Jake Odorizzi for the Twins, and Bobby Jones for the Tigers?
Jacoby Jones.
Jones.
Bobby Jones is a great, great historic amateur golfer.
Yes. They made a movie about him, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and he's dead and buried at Oakland Cemetery in Atlanta, Georgia. Stop by and drop off a golf ball like everyone else does. No, actually, Jacoby Jones is a guy that's been having a really good year kind of out of nowhere. I know that in the one league where I owned him, I'm glad to have him back. Jake Odorizzi is the same thing. He's having a great year pitching. So he pitched for you. He pitches for you, Dennis, right?
He used to, but he was one of the guys I traded away.
That's why we're having you talk about trading a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
Continue on, Brendan.
Wilmer Flores for the Diamondbacks was activated on Thursday, as well as Wellington Castillo for the White Sox, Martin Prado for the Marlins, and this is another instance where the first name got cut off, Enciarte for the Braves.
Ender Enciarte is probably the most important one there. The interesting thing about the Atlanta's outfield is they got Markakis, they have Riley, and they have somebody else who's good. It just eludes me now. And it looks like Ender Enciarte is going to be the 4th outfielder, even though a lot of people drafted him as a player.
Other activations include Carl Edwards Jr. for the Cubs, Choi at first base for the Rays, Goodwin for the Angels, and Clark for the Diamondbacks. I don't really know why this format came over to me with the first 4 or 5 letters of the first names chopped off. Now I'm just using my memory, which is not a recipe for success, Boyle.
those are the. We always do the rundown where it's like the most important guys are first. The guys at the end are just so you know. So the fact that you don't know who they are. Choi's first name is J-Man Choi. That's a good name.
I knew he was having a decent season, but the first name just completely escaped me. Okay. Rehabs this week include Carlos Correa for the Astros, Mitch Moreland for the Red Sox. Just take your time, Mitch. Sox aren't really going anywhere, and I'm just going to keep harping on this fact until the end of the hour. Blake Swihart for the Diamondbacks, and
Almides Diaz for Houston.
yes,
Correa is ripping the shreds out of his rehab. He's 5 for 10. The other guys not so much. Well, Swihart's doing fine, but Correa's
Jimmy
ready
Nelson.
to go.
Oh, sorry. Jimmy Nelson for the Brewers will be rehabbing. Is that starting tomorrow or ending tomorrow?
It's starting tomorrow.
And Hunter Strickland, who I kept thinking was on the Giants, but no, apparently he's on the Mariners now, starting today.
Yeah, these guys are actually in their lineups. They're always talking about somebody going to rehab at some point. Until they're actually penciled in their lineups, I don't usually mention it. But these are guys that people own. Continue on.
Let's see. Also, a tightness in left shoulder. This is a setback in rehab for Polanco, and Brad Peacock with soreness in his throwing hand.
That's Greg Polanco of the Pittsburgh
Greg Polanco.
Pirates. I'd also like to say that in this thing is Cleveland pitcher, a couple guys that you might want to stash, might do something. Cleveland pitcher Danny Salazar has thrown 10 innings of rehab. He didn't play at all last year, but he was a pretty good pitcher the year before. He's recovering from, I think, TJ surgery. And Johnny Cueto is on track for an early August rehab, according to their management.
Let's see. Some minor league moves, some call-ups include Adrian Morejon for the Padres today, as well as Christopher Negron for the Mariners.
Morejon. I didn't know that's how it's pronounced.
I'm just a guess.
It probably is. It probably is. I didn't even think. I've been calling him Morejon. Adrian Morejon was the third-ranked international prospect from 2 years ago. He's a Cuban kid, big lefty, throws in the high 90s. Kind of reminds you a bit of Aroldis Chapman. He strikes at a lot of guys. He's 0-4 this year. Don't pay so much attention to this year's record at AA. He's 0-4 with a 4.25 ERA with the Amarillo Sod Poodles. I just brought that up because I like saying Sod Poodles. But this guy is going to be a pretty good pitcher. You know, that's the big call-up of the week.
Well, the following players have a problem with their seatbelt mechanisms, which cause them to lock the people in. Thus, they are being recalled. Joe Palumbo for the Rangers, Luis Urias for the Padres, and Walter Lockett for the Mets.
Yeah, if Urias is available in your league, you should go pick him up. I mean, in 10-team leagues, we have a lot of great players, but Urias is a number 19 overall prospect. I know he got called up earlier and didn't do that much, but he went back down, and he's been tearing it up since then. The reason I bring up recalls is because these are guys that are hyped the first time they came up, and whether or not they had a great thing, they're still the same player.
It looks like a good chunk of the Rays pitching core coming back this week. Jalen Beeks, Brendan McKay, Ryan Yarborough, even though this latest stint on the IR will prevent him from his quest to getting 20 wins from the bullpen, like he tried last year.
Tampa Bay is just cycling pitchers to make sure that they have enough fresh arms to pitch 4 guys a day. That's the calling card of the opener strategy.
Other starting pitchers coming back include Zach Plazak for the Indians, Tyler Beatty for the Giants, Austin Voth for the Nationals, and Jose Urquidy for the Astros.
These are guys that are pretty good. Tyler Beatty last night outpitched Jake DeGrom. You know, threw 8 innings of 3-inch ball. It was a 0-0 tie, and they went to extras. Were you watching that game, Steve?
No, I was watching. I didn't watch that game, but I was checking the line. I've got some stock in Beatty, and it looks like he's kind of turning the corner here after that last send down to the minors.
He's a guy that in Austin Voth threw 6 innings of 1-run ball earlier in the week for the Nats. These are guys that might be available in deeper leagues.
Other recalls include Eric Fetty for the Nationals, Darwinzon Hernandez for the Red Sox, Patrick Weigel for the Braves, Jamie Barria for the Angels, and Freeland for the Rockies.
Cal Freeland is not a good pitcher anymore. Last year he had the 3rd best season in the history of Rockies baseball as a pitcher, and this year he just can't get anybody out.
Let's see. Some of your position players include Walsh for the Angels, Engel for the White Sox, Van Meter for the Reds. Josh Van Meter. Let's see. Beatty for the Dodgers. McKinney. Yeah. McKinney for the Blue Jays.
Billy.
Oh, and recording artist Halsey for the. Oh no, that's Hasley for the
Adam.
Phillies.
I'll just throw in the first names.
Yeah. You're like the